And we're live once again. Hey, folks, Mobile Geezer back with Friday Night Tech Talk once again. And there's Eleanor. Hey, Eleanor, glad to have you here. And she's the first one that popped in. Usually Ren's a second, but lately a lot of people have been coming in right on time. So we'll see how everything goes tonight. But glad to have you here, Eleanor, and glad that you're off work and you don't have to work tomorrow, and neither do I. And that's a very good thing. Anybody else that's here, please leave a comment and say hello. If this is your first time here, we do this every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S., and we go over some of the tech stories from the past week. And if it's your first time here, let me share screen and show you how you can follow along the stories. So just go to my website, which is mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. If you click on today's date, which will bring you all the stories for tonight's show, all the show notes for tonight. And you can follow along and click on the same stories that I'm clicking on and read the articles along with me. And tonight we're going to, I've only got 5 tonight. Oh, and by the way, Mike is having inventory on his job this week, so he won't be in. Will, I believe, is in the Philippines, so he won't be in. And Ted, well, you never know. So we'll see how that goes. And I have been on Twitter with Renz, and Renz thinks that Will is going to be about 2 hours away from him, I guess, city-wise. So maybe there's a chance they'll be able to see each other, and maybe they'll get us a picture together. We'll see how that goes. So going back to the website and going over tonight's stories, tonight we're going to start off with iOS 16.1. We all got that 2 days ago. And so we'll see what's involved in that. I've got that on Tom's Guide. And last night I had just finished putting up the stories for this week, and that today, Friday, was the deadline for Elon Musk and Twitter to get their deal done. And I had just put up my story, and I guess about 11 o'clock last night, they got their deal done, and all of a sudden, all the news changed, and now Elon is the boss of Twitter. And everybody's got this picture of him coming in with the sink, with the kitchen sink in his hands, coming into the office in Twitter. So we'll find out what that's about. And what I said here, it seems to keep getting worse for the metaverse. And I took it from BBC News, but there's a lot of stories about how Meta is just not going so well. And we'll go over that. And Intel is going to have layoffs before the end of the year. Sounds like maybe not a lot of layoffs because they have other ways of cutting money, but they're trying to save billions of dollars. So like all the other tech companies, they're laying off. And I finally found a story with this kind of cute little monitor for it's like a second monitor for your laptop, and you can put it on the side. It plugs right in. And it's an easy way to have 2 monitors, so I'll kind of show that to you, and it's pretty affordable too. So that'll be tonight's stories, and nobody else has checked in yet. So we will start. So we're probably going to have a short night because it looks like it's going to be just me tonight. So unless Ted comes in. So we'll see how it goes. So we're going to start with iOS 16.1. And what I'm trying to do is I've learned to try to put what I think is the heavy story of the week or the top story of the week, in this case, Elon and Twitter, as the second story to give other people time to come in and figure by the time I get to the first story, people who are coming are going to generally be there. So that's why I started with iOS 16.1. So let's click on that. Oh, let me put up my usual branding stuff while we're here. And just say Super Chat is wide open as always. Okay. So we're on Tom's Guide. iOS 16.1 is live now. Here's the new features for your iPhone. And as good as iOS 16 was, 16.1 looks like it's got some pretty nice features too. So everybody's writing about it. So I thought I'd let you guys know about it. So this was by Sanjana Prakash, I guess. Sorry about the pronunciation, doing the best I can. So let's go into Reader View. Get rid of some of these ads. All right. iOS 16.1 is here, and it is the first big update Apple has brought to iOS 16 that launched back in September. iOS 16 brought some big changes to iPhones, including customizable lock screens that now support widgets, new editing tools for messages, and a new fitness app, along with updates to many existing phone apps. And I never got around to going over that, but hopefully at some point. I've just been busy with a lot of different phones and earbuds and different things. But iOS 16.1 is a major update as it offers more than refinements and bug fixes. Get back to the comments just in case. Okay. Not only are we getting features that Apple promised with iOS 16 preview over the summer, but held back until now, we're also seeing some new features. Delayed features include the new iCloud shared photo library, and that's pretty cool, and live activities. In addition, we're getting a new clean energy charging feature that appeared during the iOS 16.1 beta. Let's see. Okay. iOS 16.1 launches alongside the release of iPadOS 16 and macOS Ventura. Here is an overview of all the new features and upgrades coming to iPhones with the iOS 16.1. And I updated my iPad Pro and my watch same evening. And I have to thank Miss Ellie for letting me know. She always gets that stuff ahead of me, so she's usually the one that lets me know something new is out. iOS 16.1 brings a new way to share photos with family members and friends. The iCloud shared photo library will be a separate library where users can share photos and videos with up to 5 more people, so that's pretty cool. Anyone with access to the shared library can share, edit, caption, and delete photos, so you're giving whoever you're sharing with the same power you have over your photos, so keep that in mind. In addition, the camera app now features a toggle that lets you add photos to the iCloud shared photo library as they're shot. So it sounds like a pretty nice thing. iCloud shared photo library was briefly a part of the iOS 16 public beta this summer before Apple postponed the feature to later in the year, presumably to fine-tune it. We'll soon see what changes Apple's made to its new take on photo sharing. Next one, live activities for third-party apps. Here's another feature that Apple showed off earlier in the year, but kept out of the iOS 16 release, though its absence was planned all along to give app makers time to work on adding support. That makes sense. Live activities are interactive notifications that stay up to date on the lock screen. Think sports score. So it's like, you know how you put your sports score up and it'll update live? Same kind of thing. Delivery status reports and other activities that you'd monitor from your phone's lock screen. iOS 16.1 opens the feature to third-party apps, so expect a lot of updates on Monday that include live activities alerts on this past Monday. Now, if you have the, let me change the view here. If you have the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is what you're seeing here, or the iPhone 14 Pro. On these phones, live activities will join other alerts and notifications in the dynamic island that replaced the iPhone's notch. So up here is where they mean. So let me change that back. Okay. Next one, clean energy charging. This is interesting. Included with battery settings in iOS 16.1, clean energy charging is designed to reduce the carbon footprint of your iPhone by optimizing charging times for when the energy grid is using cleaner energy sources. That's pretty interesting to me. I didn't know they could even do stuff like this. This feature will only be available for US users. Apple first promised the feature in September. Now, Apple Fitness Plus, they keep trying to get me to sign up for it because I have it free for 3 months. But as much as I exercise, I don't need it. Once iOS 16.1 arrives, Apple Fitness Plus will now be available to iPhones even without an Apple Watch, which I have, but I don't have that with me today. That's in keeping with Apple's earlier move to add the fitness app to iOS 16, regardless of whether you own one of the company's watches or not. During workouts, users without the Apple Watch will not be able to see real-time metrics like heart rate and calories burned. Instead, they'll see estimated calories burned based on information provided by on the fitness app. Anyone running iOS 16.1 in one of the 21 countries where Apple's fitness subscription service is offered will be able to access all of Apple Fitness Plus, featuring more than 3,000 studio-style workouts and meditations. That's a lot of workouts. Okay, Apple Card and wallet changes. Apple Card users will be able to open a high-yield savings account from Goldman Sachs. Yeah, I got an email offer about that too. With iOS 16.1, you can then manage that account from the wallet app and get daily cashback rewards automatically deposited into it with no fees, no minimum deposits, and no minimum balance requirements. As promised during the iOS 16 preview, Apple's wallet app will also allow people to safely share keys like car, hotel room, and others with friends and family using messaging apps like iMessages and even WhatsApp, though that feature requires support from car makers and hotels. That makes sense. Reachability support for Dynamic Island. We noted the Dynamic Island on the iPhone 14 Pro models when talking about live activities. iOS 16.1 brings another improvement for that specific feature. Reachability support. Basically, iOS 16.1 will make it easier to access the Dynamic Island with one hand. You can enable the feature within settings. Yeah, you can just make it so you can reach it with your thumb. So it's pretty cool. So those are the updates that came in iOS 16.1. Just thought I'd go over them with you guys. Let's stop. Review. Let's get out of here. And let's stop screen for a minute. Hey, Mullen, glad to have you here. And I've just done the first story, 16.1. I haven't gotten to the heavy-duty story yet, which is coming next, which is Twitter, of course. And I let them know Mike is on inventory this week, so he won't be here tonight. As far as I know, Will is in the Philippines visiting his relatives. So unless Ted comes in, this is going to be just me tonight, and it'll be a fairly quick show. So, but always glad you're here. So I'm going to share screen again. And we'll go back to the show notes. And everybody has this picture of Elon coming into the Twitter office carrying a kitchen sink last night. And you'll see it as we get into the story. So I took this one from Engadget, but of course everybody and his brother had the story. I already had my story up for tonight before they had the deal done, but about 11 o'clock our time, the deal got done, so I had to get the story out. So I have it on Engadget, so let's go into it. And this is, I think, going to end up being kind of a big deal. And if you remember, as I've gone through these stories with Elon and Twitter through the months, I kept saying I would never bet against Elon because I think Elon's smarter than any of them. And I think he proved it once again. Just my opinion. Even though I know he went from wanting it to not wanting it and changed his mind again. But anyway, I think he probably ultimately got what he wanted, even though he's paying more than it's worth. My guess is he'll make it worth more pretty quick. So Elon Musk has begun his takeover of Twitter. Twitter could change dramatically under Musk's leadership. This is by K. Bell. Carissa Bell, I guess. Let's go into reader view, get rid of some of these ads. Okay. After months of legal drama, Elon Musk has begun his takeover of Twitter, according to the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. His first move was to fire CEO Parag Agrawal, Chief Financial Officer Ned Siegel, and other top executives. He fired two other big shots too, including the lady who suspended Trump. Musk is taking the reins just ahead of a Friday deadline to complete the deal. He spent time in Twitter's San Francisco headquarters this week where he met with employees. He also reportedly brought in some Tesla engineers to help assess Twitter's code, Bloomberg reported. And that picture is not here, so let's take it out of reader view for a minute so we can see this picture. Yeah, so he came in here, he came in the office carrying that kitchen. And you won't be able to see, but he literally came in carrying a sink. He wanted to make a point, I guess. So let's go back into reader view. The new owner wants to loosen moderation rules and even make the social network open source so users can better understand what Twitter is recommending. Longer term, Musk has mentioned turning Twitter into the everything app akin to WeChat in China, and even a possibility of charging companies for the tweet embeds. Yeah, I think the everything app would be the X, which he's always wanted even before starting the other companies. Let's see. We seem to see sometimes you go into reader view and you lose this stuff. I don't understand why, but let me come back out. Okay, Musk, who changed his Twitter bio to Chief Twit, has made it clear he intends to bring other big changes to the social media company. He has said both in public appearances and in private messages that he wants to relax Twitter's moderation rules and that he dislikes permanent bans. He's also likely to let more staff go, though he has told employees the cuts won't be as high as 75%. Twitter's core service could also dramatically change under Musk's leadership. In addition to loosening moderation rules on the platform, Musk has said he wants to open source Twitter's algorithm so users could better understand its recommendations. At the same time, he's tried to reassure advertisers that he doesn't want the site to be a free-for-all hellscape and that Twitter should be the most respected advertising platform in the world. So he's juggling a lot here, trying to get a lot done. Twitter's chief operating officer, Sarah Personet, tweeted that she had a great discussion with Musk. So hopefully she's staying. Musk, who has often talked about his desire for Twitter to be an accelerant to creating X, the everything app, akin to WeChat in China, is also likely to look for ways to increase non-advertising revenue. He's proposed changes to Twitter Blue and floated the idea of charging companies for tweet embeds. So it's all his now. We're going to see what he does with it. I think they took it off this. They didn't list it on the stock market today, anticipating him taking it private. So that's where we are with that. So just wanted to get that story out there. You've probably been hearing it all day because I have. Okay, let's see if there's anything else new. See, the moment says people forget Asperger's, so his through process is a little different to most people. Well, he's different, and that's the thing. I think he's so brilliant, at least in my opinion, that it throws people off, and sometimes people don't know how to take him. That's my guess. Now we're getting on to the story that I kind of like. In case you don't know, I am not a fan of Zuckerberg. I don't like the guy, I guess like a lot of people. And I think what's happening to Meta couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Just my opinion. This is from BBC News, but a lot of people had this story. Meta shares in Facebook owner dive 20% as investors lose faith. This is from yesterday. It was by Natalie Sherman. She's out of New York. So let's go into review and see if we can still see the whole story. Okay. Shares in Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, have plunged more than 20% after a downbeat set of results from the tech giant. It comes as investor doubts about Mark Zuckerberg's vision for the future grow and revenues and profits decline. Yeah, a lot of investors are getting more and more doubts about his vision. Meta's sales shrank by 4% in the 3 months ending in September to $27.7 billion, while profits halved. The fall in shares is set to wipe $78 billion off the firm's market value if the losses hold until the end of Thursday, which was yesterday. What's going wrong? A year ago, Mark Zuckerberg declared virtual reality the next frontier to drive Facebook's growth, but so far there has been very little of it. It's because nobody seems to like it. The company, which also owns WhatsApp, is struggling as companies cut advertising budgets in the face of economic uncertainty. Changes to Apple's privacy settings hurt its targeted ads, and competition from rivals such as TikTok heats up. Yeah, so when Apple changed the privacy settings, Mark got very upset at that, and he lost a lot of money from that. And now TikTok is just kicking everybody's butt. So, and when it says the company which owns us, well, I gather Facebook owns WhatsApp and Meta owns Facebook. So that's the way that seems to go. Mark Zuckerberg, who founded Facebook at university almost 2 decades ago, acknowledged the firm faced near-term challenges. You think so? I don't think it's going to exist in 5 years. Just my opinion. I also remember MySpace was going to be around forever. I think it's going the same way. That's just my opinion. He said the company was focused on becoming more efficient and hinted at job cuts, saying the firm may be a smaller organization next year, like everybody else. But on a conference call stacked with skeptical analysts, he also maintained that the company was on the right path. Well, I think you're the only one who thinks so. As it invests in ways to keep people on its apps and stakes a claim in the emerging world of virtual reality, also known as the metaverse. And the rumors keep coming up that they have to force their own employees to use it because nobody likes it, even that works for Facebook. There are a lot of things going on right now in the business world, he said. We're going to resolve each of these things. So you think you're going to resolve everything in the business? I think those who are patient and invest with us will end up being rewarded. Investor confidence plunged in February when the company revealed it had lost daily users for the first time ever. Yeah, they've been losing users since then. Then in July, the company reported its first quarterly decline in revenue as companies spooked by the economic outlook cut their advertising budgets. Prior to the firm's update, the value of Meta shares had fallen 60% since the start of the year. That's a huge fall, wiping hundreds of billions off the company's value. They slid further on Thursday after executives warned that recovery would take an improvement in the wider economy. Analyst Deborah Aho Williamson of Insider Intelligence said the company was on shaky legs when it comes to the current state of its business. Mark Zuckerberg's decision to focus his company on the future promise of the metaverse took his attention away from the unfortunate realities of today. Meta is under incredible pressure, she said. Meta continues to generate large profits, nearly $4.4 billion in the 3 months ended in September, and has also fended off a decline in users. Okay. The company said 2.93 billion people were active on one of its platforms daily in the 3 months ended in September, up from 2.88 billion in the quarter before. So when it says one of its platforms daily, I gather they're talking about Facebook and both of the other two, I would think. Let's see. Although the core Facebook platform is not adding users in the US or Europe, it continues to grow in other parts of the world. I guess that's good. I didn't know that. Despite its strength, many investors fear the company has lost its way. Sheryl Sandberg's decision to leave the company marked the end of an era, Zuckerberg said. Meta has drifted into the land of excess. Too many people, too many ideas, too little urgency. This lack of focus and fitness is obscured when growth is easy, but deadly when growth slows and technology changes. Investor Brad Gerstner, chief executive at Altameda Capital, told the firm in an open letter this week, which called on the company to cut staff and scale back its investments in artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. Also known as the metaverse. Facebook expenses have ramped up in recent years as it's faced questions about how it was handling the spread of misinformation on its platform and protecting user privacy. The company said it was making significant changes across the board to operate more efficiently and plan to hold headcount flat over the next year. That would be a major shift after payroll surge. Check this surge. From about 17,000 at the end of 2016 to more than 87,000, rising 28% just in the last year. That's a big difference in payroll. But it warned that losses in its Reality Labs unit, which works on virtual reality and has seen revenues drop significantly, were likely to grow. So they're going to keep getting losses there. Mr. Zuckerberg said he remains committed to the project despite the doubters. I get that a lot of people might disagree with this investment, but from what I can tell, I think this is going to be a very important thing. I think he's dead wrong, just my opinion. So let's come out of review and let's see if anybody's made any comments. Brian's here. Glad to have you here, Brian. As always, thank you, brother. Oh, and thank you, as always, for your kindness and your generosity, sir. Very much appreciated. So we've already gone over iOS 16.1 coming to the iPhone, and to iOS in general, sorry. And we went over Mr. Musk becoming the boss of Twitter, which he did after I had already updated the story last night. Then I had to do it all over again, but it's okay. All right, so we've gone through Meta. I've got two more stories left. Let's stop the screen for a minute. And let me take a quick drink here. And I already told the others. Oh, and Don's here. Hey, Don, glad to have you here, brother. I already told everybody Mike had inventory this week, so he won't be on. Will's in the Philippines, and Ted, you never know how busy Ted is. So it's going to be a fairly short show tonight. We're at 8:30. So, all right, the next thing I had is more tech layoffs. So let's go back to sharing screen. I gather Intel has not had layoffs yet, so they're coming. Intel layoffs before the end of the year. This is from The Verge. So let's click on that. Intel layoffs are coming in Q4 as it cuts billions in spending. And as we go through the article, I don't think it's going to be all that bad for layoffs, but they're coming. This is by Mitchell Clark, and this is from yesterday. So go to read review, get rid of the ads. Intel has confirmed it will lay off workers soon as part of its plan to cut billions of dollars in spending. The announcement comes after reports that Intel is planning on cutting thousands of jobs. As part of its Q3 earnings, the company announced plans to cut around $3 billion in costs over the course of the next year. And CEO Pat Gelsinger told Reuters that part of that would come from people costs. He also confirmed the job cuts to Bloomberg and added that the company was reducing factory work hours for some employees. Yeah, that is serious. By the end of 2025, the company hopes to have cut its costs by $8 to $10 billion a year. That's a lot of cutting. Intel is faced with an industry-wide shift in semiconductor availability, yeah, like everybody else, as the pandemic shortages give way to overproduction in certain segments. Didn't know that. A problem also affecting competitors AMD and NVIDIA. The chip industry is changing from that of shortage to surplus by early 2020. So I guess we're not far from surplus for some people anyway. Across a number of devices. I wish they would have told us which devices. This will negatively impact revenues across the chip industry, at least in most cases, and typically these situations call for reevaluation of costs and margins, said Gartner analyst Gaurav Gupta in an email to The Verge. You know, when I was programming, when I did a lot of contracting when I was programming in Florida, worked with a lot of guys from Gartner, and those guys always dressed nice, but they never seemed to be able to do a whole lot. That's just the ones I ran into. The company didn't immediately reply to The Verge's request for details on the number of workers that it expects to lay off and what departments will be hit. Bloomberg has previously reported that Intel's sales and marketing teams could see the biggest cuts. And you gotta watch it when you're messing around with marketing, because marketing is what keeps everybody's job in a company. That's always been my view. And in his Reuters interview, Gelsinger did say that Intel's people costs were a relatively small part of its overall spending. That's good. So the company is more focused on its factories and fabs as places to save money. The company is currently in the process of building a facility in Ohio, which broke ground on earlier this year and has committed to at least $20 billion to the project. So at least that's like the third company I've heard of that's building a chip plant in America, which is finally a good thing. In terms of its earnings, the company has made it out of the red in Q2. It lost $500 million in this quarter. It reported $1 billion in profit. So they lost $500 million in Q2, and they made $1 billion in profits this quarter. That's good. That number is, however, down 85% compared to Q3 last year, which made up part of Intel's best financial year ever. So it sounds like layoffs are coming like everybody else in the tech world, but it sounds like this won't be as bad as most. I hope not, at least not for the families of those people. So I just thought I should report on that. And now, nothing new in the comments. Okay. I just found this one story that I thought it was kind of cool. I'd let you guys know about this monitor. Affordable portable monitor for a second laptop display, and this was on Digital Trends. This now I have two screens with me right here, and when I'm at home, I have three screens, so I'm pretty spoiled in that regard. But it always helps to have that extra screen, I can tell you. This portable touchscreen purchased on your laptop's display by Alan Truly. And this is from Wednesday. So we're going to review. A unique portable monitor made by Nex, purchased on your MacBook or USB-C laptop screen to provide a second display for more workspace, to keep an eye on important news and social media feeds, or to watch a video while tweeting or cleaning your inbox. And you can see the little one above the laptop right here, which I think is very cool. Called the NextPad. It's a thin, light external monitor that can be positioned so it sits above your laptop's built-in display. Priced at $249, which I think is a great price. The 12-inch 1080p touchscreen looks like an interesting way to expand your desktop vertically. I like it. If I didn't have all these monitors both here at Eleanor's house and at home, I might be looking at this, but I just thought it's cool. Beyond adding just another screen, the height provides a better ergonomic angle for using your laptop on a desk or table. Ideally, a monitor should be placed at eye level. Portable external monitors that stand even with a laptop screen don't provide the same benefits. So they're saying this is better for you. You might be wondering how your laptop hinge will be able to support the added 1.6 pound weight. Next designed a clever magnetic kickstand that supports your laptop's angle while raising the NextPad display closer to eye level. That does sound cool. In theory, this sounds like a good solution, but we haven't had hands-on experience with it yet. Yeah, if this shows up at Best Buy, I'd like to go see what it looks like in person. The NextPad is powered by your laptop's USB-C plug, so it will affect battery life. The monitor includes one mini HDMI 2.0 port, two USB-C ports that use the USB 3.1 standard, that's good, and one USB-C port that uses the older 2.0 standard, just like what I have here, except I have more ports. The magnetic mount and kickstand are bundled at the $250 price, providing the extra value. Yeah, I think that's a great price. The NextPad is also compatible with some smartphones that allow desktop mode. Samsung is the most notable with its DeX software. For the full list, see next to the website. And I clicked on the list just to see what phones would support this. Let's see if it'll show us. Boy, this is a long list of phones going way back. Look at all these phones. Asus Zenfone, ROG Phone, BlackBerry Key 2, Essential Phone, can you believe this? A Fairphone even supported, HTC 10, HTC U11, which I still have, 12, Huawei Mate 10. Look at all the Huawei phones. This is a long list of phones that will support this. Look at all the LG phones. G5, G6, G7, G8, V20, V30, V30 Plus. The list goes on and on, OnePlus. So it looks like most phones will support this display. So I just thought it was kind of cool. So anyway, I just thought that was a very cool thing to show you guys. And I thought for $250, that looked like a pretty good product to me. So I just thought it was kind of cool. So nothing new in the comments. Okay. So that was my last official story. So let's go to our usual glowing rectangles. And I'll just remind you guys about that. All right. So for anybody who hasn't, I guess most of you guys have seen this, but just in case, glowing rectangles is, let me get rid of some of the branding stuff here first. Okay. It's on reddit.com/r/glowing /glowing rectangles. This was started by Warren Bagnell, some gadget guy, and it's just a place for you or your family, your friends, whoever you know that makes videos or writes blogs. You can put this on here every day. You get some more exposure. And you put it out here, and people upvote and down vote for whatever's you're putting up here for the day. So if you click on top, you'll see we got the most votes today. So far, Shane Craig, who, if you know Shane, he loves his Duo. He's got the Duo 1 and the Duo 2. And this week, Microsoft released Android L for the Duo, and he went over it, and so did Warren Bagnell. So that's got the most upvotes. Let me give him 1, 2. Surface Duo plus LapDuck plus Cloud Desktop equal awesome. And I saw that was out there today, but I was working, so I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. And the second thing you always see below the top voted story is always an ad. So the next most voted story is a Google Pixel 7 Pro case, Pro Journey case, Bellroy leather case. And that's by TechValor, okay? Or put there by TechValor. So, and there's another one by Shane. And this was, I guess, last night's best of our week. And see, they're showing the Android L on the Surface Duo 2. I got it on the Surface Duo 1. I haven't had a chance to look into it much yet, though, but I did update mine. So, matter of fact, Shane did a video this morning about how much work has gone into the original Surface Duo and how much better it is than when it first came out, and he's right about that. So anyway, that is glowing rectangles. I show this every week just to let you guys see that it's there, and you can get some exposure for videos and or blogs, whatever you have, and for yourself and for other people too. So that's it. And let's go back and start the screen. And I put my branding back. Okay. So that's all we've got for this week, folks. And let me go back to the comments. Oh, and Renz is fine. Just got here. And Devon said hi to Don. And Renz, glad you're here. And I'm about to sign off, Renz, but I'll tell you, if you want to look at the show notes, I'll show you what I went over tonight. Mike was doing inventory this week, so he knew he couldn't be here. But in the show notes we had tonight, we went over iOS 16.1, which I guess you should have on I guess you still have your iPhone mini. And it has some nice features in there. And then, of course, the big story was Elon taking over Twitter completely last night and bringing in the kitchen sink and making a point. And then we went over how Meta is not the investors are not showing a lot of faith in Meta. Personally, I don't think it'll exist in 5 years. That's just my opinion. Intel is going to have some layoffs by the end of the year. I gather they haven't laid off anybody yet, but it sounds like theirs isn't going to be too bad. And then I showed this kind of, I thought, affordable monitor to give you an extra monitor. This is only $249, and this will work with both Mac and PC. So pretty cool, I thought. So that's what we went over tonight. And of course, we're already all done. Because the guys are saying hello as usual. So that's all I've got for tonight, guys. And Renz, I'm glad you made it. You know, even though you were late, I know you're busy. I know you're at work. But of course, as always, I'm very happy you got here. Always very happy to have you. And there you go, being kind as always. Thanks very much, as always, Renz. Oh, and if you do get a chance to get a picture with Bill, please, we all want to see it. You know, don't mean to be pushy. Anyway, I hope you guys are in touch. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful and very blessed weekend. And as always, let's remember we all do better when we love each other. And I will see you all next week, and hopefully with Mike, at least Mike. So have a blessed weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.